In a world, 4 friends, 1 mission.
Mikey, what are you doing?
I'm doing the thing for the podcast.
It's not that hard, bud.
Dude, just say the name.
Fine. It's the Freedom Friends podcast. Oh, so there's drinks on the table, John.
Yeah.
There's a stick in my hand and his hand, and I can't see your other hand, so I'm going to assume while it's down there that it's Friday. What are we about to do?
We're about to masturbate, boys.
You damn right. It's time for a Freedom Friends Master Debate, solving the world's problems one mediocre topic at a time. As you guys have heard me say week in and week out for the last 3.5 redacted years. Sorry that I messed it up already. 3.5 redacted years. I made it 26 seconds in. Yeah. We have the always talented and lovely Jack Mandeville with us today.
Having a hard day, Mike. I got my waterbed repossessed because I couldn't make the payments on it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm sleeping on the floor with all my Snuggie blankets just bunched up into a corner.
That sounds wonderful. This sounds like college.
It is nice.
It's the most Minnesota thing I've ever heard. All my Snuggie blankets.
Like when you buy the cheap ass futon and then you throw the frame away and just use the. I've done that.
Like, how many people have everybody's had that apartment where the mattress
married.
is on the floor?
I was married and had that.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I remember it was real difficult to bring chicks back to the house when your mattress is on the floor. But I made it work. Good old Southern California.
Especially when she's laying there on the mattress and you like sit down on it and she bounces off.
Yeah, right.
Because it's an air mattress.
I didn't have an air mattress. It was just like a shitty mattress, but it was on the
One of my
on the floor.
favorite stories from when I was in the military was one of my guys, Ferry, decided to take this girl home one night.
His name is Ferry?
Yeah, Ferry.
Man, I bet his drill instructors loved him.
Right.
Yeah.
He was from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yep.
He was a piece of shit until we deployed. Then he was pretty good.
Seriously.
Oh, he's one of those guys? I love those guys.
He used to buy 2 bottles of Bacardi Orange from the Class 6, and he'd drink both of them in a matter of about 45 minutes. And then you had about 30 minutes of amazing entertainment, and then we'd handcuff him to the toilet. Almost every night. Because he was a fucking idiot. That's the only way we could get him to not do stupid shit.
Makes
Then we'd
sense.
shave like an eyebrow every once in a while. Anyways, so he took this girl home to her trailer.
Classy.
And he woke up in the morning and she pissed the bed. And so he's getting ready to leave to go back on base. And he tells me, he goes, and she asked me the weirdest question I've ever been asked in my life. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fucking good. And she goes, can you help me flip the mattress? I was like, what a dirty bitch. I was more surprised that was the weirdest question he's ever been asked in his life.
Yeah, right. But if you're pounding 2 fists of Bacardi O before fucking dinner time, man, that's a pretty tame question. Yeah.
Yeah, I get those 2 Bacardis and man, I just can't pull out, man.
Just blow it all in there.
Yeah.
The theme of this debate's called Big Comes because it's a master debate. Justin, you got a topic for us?
I do not, but Scott does.
Scott does.
Well,
Yeah, you have one.
I have a follow-on question. Last week, I think it was last week or the week before, we did what's the most feminine things we do.
You're right.
And
Okay.
so Mikey's
No,
was,
what was it? What's something?
Oh,
What's something you do that's not considered masculine?
Yes.
And they basically made fun of me for getting pedicures and taking care of myself.
But Jack, I want to throw you this question.
He gets pedicures.
I get petties. I'm not ashamed of that, though. I don't think it's feminine for me to do that.
I don't either.
But what's the most non-masculine thing you do?
You know, I've caught, since I was a teenager, I've caught myself standing a certain way where I've actually used it almost to I've used an exaggerated version of it when I've played certain characters.
It's this.
I do that. Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I actually stand like that at times. I catch myself doing one of these That's how my mother used to like stand like at the edge of the stairs when I come home from school and I was like suspended. Yeah. She knew ahead of time. She'd stand like this.
That's a Karen stance.
Yeah, that's a Karen stance. I stand like a middle-aged woman. Yeah,
or a Linda.
Yeah,
that's like people named Linda stand like that.
So I've been doing that since I was like a teenager. I catch myself kind of doing one of these every once in a while. I also cried when my dog died.
That's not feminine
We're
at all.
good on that?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
all right.
that's masculine.
I've already been told that I'm going to be on suicide watch when it comes with my dog.
Dude, we said it for years about you. Me and you had this conversation.
Yeah, you were hitting me up a lot afterwards.
I was like, I'm gonna go and fucking make sure he's okay.
Yeah,
every goddamn day.
Yeah. You were texting me a lot more than usual,
dude. I was genuinely concerned, but that's because I totally get it.
I kept busy with work. It was the best thing I could have done.
You did.
But yeah, no, I stand like a bitch. Yeah. But I played a character once called Meryl Kowalski where I did like a super exaggerated version of that because it was an extension of myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Kowalski's a great character.
That's a good character.
Yeah. That was the Office. Or the shop.
Yeah.
Not the Office.
Fernando Rivera, who was the lead in that show. I've been hanging out with him. Yeah. He's
great dude.
Down in San Antonio. Crashes out my place quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Let's link up. Let's grab a drink or something.
100%.
Yeah. Let's do that. I like that, dude. Me and him.
It's not like I got to let my dog out. So
because I shot him.
Yeah,
I shot him in a TV.
You
show.
shot Taco? You are a piece of shit.
No, I would never ever. I would never shoot Taco.
That's what you just said.
No, I shot fucking Rivera.
Yeah.
Oh.
In a show.
Yeah. He's a fun guy.
Yeah. It was a good death
Anyways,
scene.
that's how. What about you, John? You're a very masculine guy.
I said the most non-masculine thing that I do is women.
That was his answer. That was his answer.
That's good.
Michelle had to answer mine. I don't even remember what it was.
It was when you go to Sports Clips and get your hair shampooed.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Which again, I don't
There's
think
nothing wrong with getting your hair shampooed,
but it's the most non-masculine thing I do.
Weak.
And I just got it for self-care, just in general. Just
you didn't cry when you saw The Notebook?
Nope.
I still have never watched it.
Well, we got to test what your bitch level is.
That's a good point.
When they lay in that bed together at the end, you know it's coming. It just starts all coming up. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
You'll know when you see it.
All right, so Justin, you did have a topic for us.
I do have a topic for you guys.
All right.
So I want to know, what's a story where the bad guys are actually completely 100% right?
Oh.
World War II in color.
Boondock Saints.
Wow.
Yeah, Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints is a good one. Yeah.
Well, see, that's so weird though, because the bad guys
are the good guys.
They're vigilantes, which is inherently bad.
Batman is another one. Like, where Batman's an anti-hero.
Is he bad though?
He's a vigilante. It's the same as Boondock Saints.
But the difference with Batman is like,
I can't believe I said World War II in color and nobody said anything. I'm so disappointed in you guys. We got to make a 9/11 reference now? What the fuck? Jesus.
Another inside job.
I know.
Fucking Christ, man. Boondock Saints. I never thought of them as bad guys, though.
So it's not a movie, and I wouldn't necessarily. The bad guys are definitely not the good guys, but the show did a good job of showing nuance. How there's no clear line between good versus bad, and the bad guys were the bad guys, but it also showed that the quote unquote good guys were not angels themselves. As I loved the dynamic between the FBI and the Soprano family in The Sopranos, where the FBI they were never there because they were always fucking people over in the process of justice, which is kind of a, mobsters aren't great people. They are fucking criminals, but like, in order to get to certain people, they've fucked other people over.
Well, it's like The Departed or pretty much any mobster flick.
I saw a couple shows.
They prey on the weak ones.
One was something about Waco and one was something about Ruby Ridge.
Koresh was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But also there were a lot of questions about did they need to go that hard? They made it worse.
Yeah.
The ATF made it worse.
100%.
Yeah.
And Ruby Ridge.
Koresh was definitely a piece of
show.
shit that needed to be dealt with, but they did not go about it the right way.
Yeah. Ruby Ridge is another classic
that
example.
guy, that was more of a tragic incident in the sense that he was a weirdo off the grid guy, but like what they got on him is he had gone to some white supremacist meeting at one point, but like it was like a one-time thing. They never really proved that he was a white supremacist,
right?
But that was their end to fucking basically.
That was their motive.
And then they shot his wife or something. And
the wife, the dog.
Yeah.
They shot the wife while she was holding the baby, right? Yeah. Because she was in a doorway and they thought she was holding something else.
But like
the dogs where it draws a line.
I'm going to shoot, right? Like shoot all the people and babies you want.
I'm going to shoot back at that point too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I believe they still count that as like a victory. Like they did something good. Like they still look at that and they're like, nope, nailed it.
Yeah.
Like,
history has come to kind of show that it was a blunder. I think, especially in societal eyes.
I think the average citizen realizes that both incidents were fuck ups on the government's part.
I mean, the Iraq War. There's
good example of a fuck up there. Yeah.
I mean,
they weren't good guys,
but we weren't good guys either.
Saddam was not a good guy, but you also realize, big picture, there was stability in the region.
Yeah,
because of by the way, he didn't have a religious extremism problem in his country.
No,
it was
there was Christians in Iraq.
They were Christians living peacefully. There were the Sunnis and the Shiites. You know, he was hard-handed at times, but generally there was religious tolerance and peace in that country.
The only people who were really getting fucked were the Kurds,
right? Yeah, which they were getting fucked. You don't want to minimize it, but they've always been getting fucked.
We fucked them.
Yeah, we fucked them.
We fucking turned our backs on them
multiple times.
Yeah, and they still like, we'll still help you guys.
Yeah,
like we've absolutely fucked them over.
Well, because nobody else wanted to help them. Everybody else was just like, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
At least we were like, you know what? Hey, sorry about last time, but hey, we'll help you again this time.
Yeah.
Till we fuck you again.
And then we'll turn our backs on you. Yeah. But at least with Saddam Hussein, there was stability in the region.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Not a good guy. His kids were also douchebags.
Pieces of shit.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys. Taking care of the Saddam and his kids, right?
Just the kids.
Huh?
Just the kids.
Just the kids?
Yeah.
I just got given a book. I can't wait to read it. It's called I forget what it's called. It's like The Prisoner in the Palace. It's about the American guards who were watching Saddam Hussein up until his execution. So it wasn't Iraqis that were watching him. It was American guards that were watching him. And it's about them interacting with Saddam Hussein. I cannot fucking wait to read it. Yeah.
Jack, that is not the book that you just got.
No. Oh, God.
Because Jack just got this book.
I don't know if I want to give it a glance. I've already read Huckleberry Finn. I don't know if I can go another round with that many N-words. Yeah.
It's empty. It's a joke. All right. Yeah. Don't get mad at Jack.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. The Punisher. Vigilante.
Yeah.
Vigilante.
Great show.
But you empathize with, you get it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sure. I really, you know what, my favorite Punisher scene was actually not even in the Punisher TV show. It was in Daredevil. And it's the prison scene when he just like goes in and like murks the fucking main guy in prison, and then fucking like they all come after him and he beats the piss out of everybody to death, and he's just laying there in a stack of bodies all fucked up. It's like,
what's the
hell yeah.
What's the prison show with where the general goes to
The Last Castle?
The Last Castle.
James Gandolfini. Speaking of The Sopranos, James Gandolfini.
That was a
brilliant actor. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Robert Redford.
Gone too soon, man.
Yeah.
Gone too soon. In my opinion.
Yeah, that was a great one where he was there for a reason, but the head of the prison was clearly like he was just a douchebag.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein. Tell me you all didn't like his fucking movies. Go ahead and say it. It's like he's a bad guy.
Well, he is a bad guy, and now what we know about him, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. So I'm not one of those like. There's been a few like I don't listen to R. Kelly music anymore because everything we know about the guy,
it hits different now.
I'm not gonna, before.
You should listen to it now though, because
It means
You
different
understand
things.
it differently.
Well, it's just I'm not gonna spend any time giving any. Yeah,
My body is telling me yes. It's
Yeah.
like, bro,
he's a real piece of shit.
he was telling everybody like straight up that he's a
Same
piece
thing
of
with
shit.
Kevin Spacey. Like I haven't been able to get beyond what we know about him. I'm like, great actor, but everything we know about him, like,
Did you see that
House
weird,
of Cards is great.
Did you
though.
see
It's a
that
great show.
weird YouTube fucking video he did after he got let go of House of Cards, where he was in character as his character on House of Cards? He did like this weird YouTube fucking clip where he's like, "You think I'm gone? I'm not gone," and it was fucking creepy, man. I was like, bro,
really clinging on to that
way
career
to-
of yours.
Way
Yeah.
to dig yourself deeper with your weird shit. Like,
Yeah.
which was unfortunate because he's an amazing actor,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
obviously,
R. Kelly was a great musician, but they're like, it's like their fucked up personal shit is way too fucked up to forget. Because it's like you compare those guys to a Louis C.K. Louis C.K. for his fucking was like, oh, he jerks off in front of chicks. He actually always got permission to do it.
he asked,
So it was consensual.
Yeah.
he's got a
He's
bit,
not. He literally got consent. He's not a creep.
he's got a bit in his new special about it, and he's like, let's talk about it. He goes, the only difference is all of you guys have that thing that you're into, and now all of you know what my thing is. And he's like, and it's so weird
But, like-
knowing that everybody knows what my thing is.
He went about it. He got consent.
Yeah, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, because he asked.
I loved that in his first special he put out after that, in the background he just had giant letters that said "I'm sorry."
That was the name of the special.
Yeah.
Was I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was a
Yeah.
brilliant special. He's a fucking brilliant comedian.
Yeah.
Like that dude is fuck.
But Jack, from what you were saying, that's another debate topic we had where it's separating a person's or an actor's character from like their real personality.
Which again, as long as they're not felonious creep pieces of shit, I don't give a fuck about what actors' religions are. I don't give a shit about their political opinions. I respect their work as long as they hold some level of decency as a human. Like,
We kind of said the same thing. We used Tom Cruise as an example.
dude,
Like he's a fucking weirdo,
but
and
he's
an
the best
amazing
at
actor.
what he fucking does.
100%.
And that guy legitimately knows how to fly jets. He can play guitar. He can fucking sing. He is the Teddy Roosevelt of acting.
Yeah, avid skydiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He and as a filmmaker, as a producer, like that guy is good at what he does. I respect the fuck out of Tom Cruise. I don't give a shit what his religious background is. As long as there's no evidence of him hurting anybody.
Who is the guy I brought up? I can't remember his name.
It's because the Scientologists are good at burying shit.
I don't.
Fuck.
We threw around a bunch
The
of names that
actor?
night.
Yeah.
I want to say Joe Pesci, but that wasn't it.
No.
Joe Pesci is like a documented sweetheart.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it was he plays a gangster though.
Yeah, and he's
Robert De Niro.
Robert De
Yes.
Niro, right? He plays who he hates.
Like super criminal. He plays a lot of criminals.
Well, but like politically, he's very, very far left, right?
Liam Neeson too.
Yeah.
But he plays people who you would assume would not be far left.
Well, it's like you've made a career shooting guns in front of a camera,
It's just weird.
and then you're like, guns are bad. We need to ban them all. Like type of thing. It's like
That's Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, De Niro, Baldwin, who literally murdered someone. They've all done that shit. Like, I mean, it's how much hate did we get about that
What?
when we were talking about how every person in the chain on that film and on that
I didn't
on that
even
film,
see. Did we?
Oh,
It was-
dude. People were like shitting on us in the comments on that one. It was
On
funny.
TikTok, it got
accountability.
it got some decent traction on
Well,
TikTok,
yeah.
and it was like 50% of people that were like, "Yes, this dude should absolutely see jail time. He probably won't." Blah blah blah. And then it was some people were like, "No, it should just be the weapons wrangler," and then some people were like, "Nobody should be charged because it was an accident." And I'm like, "Well, that doesn't really fucking."
but from what I understand, I don't know that much about it, but there were complaints about the armorer.
Yeah, because her dad was like a renowned.
It was nepotism. That's
yeah.
everything. Basically, everybody other than actors, there's a lot of nepotism
Yeah.
in the industry. She got the job because of who her dad was.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, like, actors actually, like, you see generational actors, but that's more of a kill what you eat type of scenario. Like, you do have to prove yourself more, where there's jobs like armors and grips and stuff like that where, like, my dad got me the job. Yeah. There's a lower barrier to entry.
I told one of your
somebody.
stories the other day, Jack.
What?
Haley and I were watching Lord of the Rings, and old Samwise Gamgee was on there.
Sean Aston.
And I was
amazing human being.
And I stopped it in the middle. Haley, we were having our date night, so we were high shit. And I was like, "Have I ever told you Jack's story about him?" And she's like, "No." And I told her the story that you told me about the day of filming on Range 15.
Yeah, he was only there for one day.
When everybody was just tired and fucking run down and all fucked up, and then he did the Rudy speech.
Yeah. Out of the blue.
And like everybody was like, "Let's fucking go."
Yeah. Just amped us up.
Yeah.
Sean Astin, did you see his character Bob in Stranger Things?
The most likable guy ever.
That's him in real life.
Yeah.
He is a really sweet, kind of a dopey guy.
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like hearing that.
Yeah.
I love it when I hear
And he
about
comes from an LA family. His mother and
father
his
were both.
father were both industry people, but he is just a sweet human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how he got the Goonies.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
was
he's
a
a
child
child
actor,
actor.
and that's the thing. It's like I've met some child actors that are fucked up. He's not. Like, he's a very well-rounded human
He
being.
worked with a lot of them that are fucked up.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, I respect Corey Feldman after what he's done to blow the lid off of all the fucking abuse and shit in Hollywood. Like, he is fucking.
Yeah, God knows what he went through when he was younger.
Yeah. And he fucking has whistleblowed like a son of a bitch. And it's like, fucking A, man.
I did DMT with a former child actor. I'm not going to name him. No, he probably wouldn't even give a shit.
What a great segue.
I did DMT with a former child actor. And for me, it was a revolutionary spiritual experience that I still remember to this day. It changed me.
Yeah.
And for him, that guy had so much trauma. I don't think it put a fucking dent in him. He was telling me about I'm sure with this age range here, maybe not you, Justin, but with the age range here, you've definitely seen his work. I'll tell you after the show who he was. You've seen him. He was talking about doing whippets with like the crew members when he was 14 years old and shit like that. No. Yeah. But yeah, like he had it was like talking to someone who grew up in a border town. Like, you did what when you were that age? Yeah.
Jesus, man. I don't know. That amount of pressure at that age, though. Like, there's no way it's
never
fucking
allow
healthy.
my kid.
No fucking way.
At 18, they want to fucking move to LA and do that grind. Good for you.
Yeah.
I would never want my kid around that environment.
Absolutely not, man. Like, it would just be, that's too much.
No, it is.
Like, that pressure is crazy.
Yeah. And you see a lot of those the child actors, they're highly intelligent individuals.
Sure.
A lot of them are extremely intelligent. You have to be in order to invoke any emotion, in order to play a character that's not you.
And some are
You have to be
talented too.
Yes, you have to be a very smart person in order to tap into certain emotions.
I use Miley Cyrus as an example a lot when it comes to this conversation because like of like an extreme that you can go to. You know what I mean? Like, there's no questioning that Miley Cyrus is a talented fucking singer.
Yeah.
The girl's got pipes on her, man.
Yeah.
She is a great,
And she can
great
act.
musician. And she's a decent actor.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't a big Hannah Montana fan. It's more
Right.
Justin's generation. But, you know,
Goddamn right, boys.
but like, you know, it just never, it wasn't my fucking forte when I was that age, right? She wasn't around. She's much younger than me. So, but like when it comes to like talent, but can you imagine? First of all, she was fucked from Jump Street because her dad's Billy Ray Cyrus.
Her dad was her dad was a very notable person. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
And Nashville's a different community when it comes to fame and popularity.
Sure.
And she grew up around Nashville.
But then you have the Britney Spears, who again, great talent, couldn't fucking handle it mentally.
Yeah.
You know, and just went off the fucking deep end and is still fucking there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's
And
still
there's
wacky.
there's
Yeah.
probably some deeper mental health issues. Yeah.
I contracted with a dude who grew up with her.
Yeah.
He used to like babysat.
She also
she
comes from kind of a broken home.
Yeah.
She didn't have a healthy home life.
No. And her fucking dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But apparently like the guy I contracted with, he told me he was like they were like normal fucking folks. It was just like, oh yeah, she did this thing on Disney Channel for a while, whatever, and then she blew the fuck up. Like, it was just, but you have like there is a definite, and then you brought up Doogie Howser, who apparently is a very well-rounded individual,
person,
and fucking got his head on straight and all this. He's and I mean,
and even when he had bumps in between being a child actor and when he got back into the groove of things as an adult actor, there were years where he had a rough go professionally, but he waited it out. He worked his ass off. He got back to, no one has
Starship fucking troopers.
No one has a bad thing to say about Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room with child actors. Macaulay Culkin.
Oh yeah.
But he's turned out but he is an extreme example of the ultimate fucking peak of fame,
right?
At an age where you have no consent to be going to auditions and even acting. He was forced into it by his family.
Yeah.
And he came out as normal as you possibly could under those circumstances.
Yeah. He had a couple rough years.
Yeah.
Where he looked a
one or
little
two.
wacky. but if you hear him talk now and stuff,
yeah,
he's good to hook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's all right. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
What's really sad to me is when you see these child actors that then their parents go and like fuck them over with the money and everything,
Dude, and
start
there's
stealing from them.
So many laws that have been going back until the 1930s. There's been so many laws in place to prevent that, and it still fucking happens.
Yes.
The guy I was telling you about I did DMT with, that guy had been working on major network. I'll tell y'all who he is after the show. He was on some of the most biggest fucking sitcoms of the 80s. Big fucking one of the biggest movies ever at the box office, and he had nothing to show at 18.
See, that's fucking tragic.
Yeah.
Because
That's
you
so
already,
fucked up.
like with that level of fame, you can't trust anyone. And you're like, well, at least I got my parents. And then it's like, nope, even they'll
just
fuck
kidding.
me over.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, look at it happens to adults too, though. I mean, look at
Absolutely.
Dane Cook.
Yep.
Dane Cook's
His
a good
brother.
example.
Fucked
Like
over
his
by his
brother
brother.
fucked him out of millions of dollars,
Yep.
and he had to send his brother to jail.
Yep.
Wow.
And it sucks. Like, I mean,
It's no different. Every family in America has probably had this happen to them in one way or another, where grandma dies, you got the siblings, and everything's been fucking chill for years. But when grandma goes, there's a little money on the table. Weird shit starts happening.
Yeah.
Arguments start happening.
sure.
I watched it happen when my grandmother died. It was they started getting into it.
It happened, and it happened when I had a grandparent die, and I let it go. Like I just let it go, and I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to fucking voice my opinion on this. I didn't want the drama. And then later it came up. Matter of fact, you were there when it came up later because it happened at our previous employer.
Oh, I remember
when I got
that.
the call.
Yeah.
And I fucking basically had to fucking rip into a family member. It was like, no, let me tell you what the fuck I think. And I had to fucking and truth be told, it did end up being healthy because it started a dialogue between her and I. And we
you're
were,
Irish, so there's a lot of fucking.
and this was the
lot
Irish
of family members.
This is the Irish side, bro. So so it was they're both Irish sides. I guess there's two sides. They're both fucking green.
At least you're not Italian.
Right?
Tony.
I noticed you were a little swarthy, John. I forgot how many Portuguese and Italians there are in New England.
Fucking but no, it started a dialogue.
The dark whites.
And it ended up, gentlemen, this gentleman, please.
Please, thank you.
Jack, there's another shirt idea for you.
The dark whites.
I'll take some of that toast.
Toasty.
I'm sorry for getting European racist on everybody here.
It doesn't count.
I don't think that counts, man.
It's safe racism. As another white guy, even though I'm not Italian, Greek, or Portuguese, I can say it because they're still white. You know.
So you're like Scandinavian, yeah?
No, I'm one of the few white
German.
Minnesotans who's not Scandinavian at all.
So what is your ethnic
All the
background?
boring whites, English and Scottish and shit like that.
You're like, just straight up Anglo-Saxon.
Well, that's the thing about white people. They always like to be the most unique whites when they talk about their heritage. It's almost at this point better off to be one of the traditional boring whites.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, you're a straight white male in America these days, so you're automatically the devil.
I'm not. I got a lot of advantages. People listen to me way too much. Yeah.
Have you ever done the like DNA testing stuff?
My sister did, so that's how I know about my heritage.
Yeah. I don't want them having my DNA.
Well, I don't really give a fuck about that.
What are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I know.
Honestly,
I think
clone me.
They know everything there is to know about. Private tech knows everything there is to know about us.
Quick, turn your TikToks on. I'm going to talk shit about China real quick.
The government's already got your shit. You're in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not lying. That's true.
Straight up. But like,
when did we hand over our DNA to the military?
The first time you ever gave blood, probably.
I don't remember giving blood to the military.
Guarantee you get blood.
Dude, you remember your first night in boot camp, just shot after shot after.
Yeah, but they were giving me stuff. They weren't taking stuff away from me.
That's when they put the trackers in you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where's our tinfoil hats? Where they at?
But no, like the 23andMe and all that kind of stuff. Like, I know, like for my dad's side of my family, like they literally have family lineage back to like the mid 1700s. Like I have it. So I know where my dad's side of my family's from. My mom's side, like I know where my great grandparents lived, you know, and like their family and shit like that. So like I don't give a fuck what a DNA test tells me.
Me too.
Galway, like, I know where Ireland. My family lived for hundreds of years. I'm good.
Are you know what are you like? You're New England. Are you the Portuguese Italian type of
no
New
Portuguese?
England? No Portuguese.
There's some Italian, Lithuanian, Lebanese, Greek. And then like white trash Europe. Like
you got all the whites.
Yeah.
Which by the way, Middle Easterners, there is no Middle Eastern section there is no Arab section on the census. It's considered white.
Yeah.
And Hispanic was considered white until the 70s.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, don't you remember when when Trayvon Martin happened and they were like a white Hispanic man shot him and everybody was like, wait a minute.
No, but Arabs to this day have to check off white on the
Caucasian
on the census. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we went, God, I don't want to say these words, even though they're scientifically correct.
Redacted. Is it recreational?
No, it's legitimate scientific. There's really there's Mongoloid, Caucasoid. I don't want to say the other one, you know, but there's really only 4 races.
Trapezoid?
Yeah, we'll call it that. And then whatever American Indian is, there's really only 4 races, right? Like, and that's, if you go down to like legitimate, like, you know, Homo sapien, different classes, you know, and all the colors have fucking blinded everybody because it really doesn't fucking matter.
No,
it is.
You know what I mean?
Is.
Like it.
I love when people like for a while people like, you know, so what's your heritage? Where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm American.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
well, what? Like, yeah, like my parents were both born in the United States and I was born in the United States. So that makes me American.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know what else you want from me. Like, well, where's your family from? I'm like, Massachusetts.
I mean, my lineage is pretty easy to go back just because my father wasn't born here.
Yeah.
Your dad's actually Irish.
He was, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, like I'm fucking son of an immigrant, pal. That's why every time like the slavery conversation comes up, I'm like, hey, I didn't have anything to do with that shit. My family was dealing with potato famine while y'all were fucking dealing with that shit.
Like, my grandparents on my dad's side immigrated to the United States during World War II because they were in Holland, Netherlands now, and they fled Europe because they're Jewish. And so like I have my grandfather's diary and the whole nine. Like,
is it the Lithuanian part or
no? It's my mom's side.
Oh, they were Dutch.
Yeah. Yep.
Jewish.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like I still have family in the Netherlands. They own a store in Amsterdam and The Hague, called Blijgesteins. Their last name's Van Blijgestein.
Very Jewish name.
Yeah. But it's really cool. Like when Nazis came in and started.
It's very cool when the Nazis came in.
Sorry. Well, no, like so they had this store, and so they came in and Nazis were pretty much like, we're going to take over your shit. We'll be back in a week. Well, in that week, they got rid of every single thing they had in the store and gave it to everybody in the community. And so the Nazis came in, took over the store, did whatever. Well, obviously, we know how that war went.
Yeah.
So when they came, took everything back over, everybody in the community brought back all the property to the store.
Really?
Yeah. Like
That's
it's really
cool.
So that says a
cool.
lot about the Dutch culture that there was that plan set in place, or I guess that cultural institution to take care of
Their own.
their own like that.
Yep.
And we forget that for all the fucking travesty that happened with everything leading up to World War II and people being hauled away in the Nazi invasion into other European countries. There were so many great examples of heroism and kindness and love that happened in that region.
It just goes to show you, people are, for the most part, good.
They're good, and they're going to do the right thing.
Yeah. Because conscience is still there. It's still a piece of who we are.
Yeah.
Right? Even sociopaths like us, fucking, we still have a conscience, right? I mean, it's as weird as it sounds. And like, I'm gonna quote a Marvel movie, man. People often forget that the first country that Hitler invaded was his own. You know what I mean? So there was a lot
Austria.
of Germans. Well, sorry.
Well, he was Austrian.
He was, and he was Jewish.
That's been disproven, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's it.
Wasn't his mother like Jewish?
It wasn't.
She had the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Like, so she was Jewish,
But
like John.
he did. I mean, he was Austrian. People forget that. And one of the first places he went into was Austria. It was a layup for him to go into Austria.
But the first country he invaded was Germany. They invaded Germany first, really. He took over as Supreme Chancellor.
Well,
and
yes. Yeah.
still that.
It was a political takeover.
And there was a lot of Germans that were like, I don't know about all this. Like even them.
Well,
they
people
were like,
forget that. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point.
Yeah.
That, again, I never go at this point. I will not engage in the Germany, the jokes about the Germans as they fucked up as a whole and all that, because a large percentage of Germans were vocally anti-Hitler, and they followed it through to the end. There were multiple assassination attempts on him, not from the outside, but from the inside. There were a lot of Germans that understood and knew how bad Hitler was and tried to stop. They did their best.
Well, then after the war, the Nuremberg trials, a lot of the Germans that were against Hitler were the ones that were like, that guy, that guy. They were like, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been telling y'all for fucking years, y'all were fucking up.
Exactly.
Like,
It's not black and white. The fact is, Germans didn't come to some 100% consensus on this is what we're going to do. There were a lot of people in Germany that were anti-Hitler, and even living in Germany, they adapted to it, and they did the best they could to handle it.
Look at Schindler.
Yeah.
Schindler was one of those, and obviously, like, they made a real good movie about it. Fucking Liam Neeson again. And, that's what it was. He was like, I'm not on board with this shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to save as many people as I can because they're people.
Yeah.
And
Have you guys seen the show called The Defeated?
The Defeated.
It's like, it's a drama, and it's just, it's probably fiction, but it like takes place right after the war, where Berlin's divided up into sectors. You got the France sector, the German
Russians,
sector, Russian, and the American sector. And it's a pretty good show. I just got done watching it. But just, it takes place like there, and it shows like, the innocent Germans.
Yeah.
Trying to rebuild everything.
The only thing I got to say about the Germans, even though there was a lot of them that weren't complicit in the whole Nazi Germany thing, is they still deny. Nothing happened.
Well, not all of them. No, there's a small minority.
There are a lot of Holocaust deniers over there, and they don't teach it. They don't teach it in mainstream education. They don't teach it.
Oh, no, Germans, they're very aware of their...
Well, I know they are.
So I think it's a thing with younger Germans is they don't want to... There is kind of a pushback against being held responsible for what their grandparents did or their great grandparents, and it's understandable. Like I've grown up in this society where we know it's wrong. We are not going to let this happen again. But they don't want to be a punchline to Western humor that that they should somehow be responsible for what their ancestors did. I get it. I get it.
So like reparations.
Well, Germany is a.
That's what I was thinking.
It's the same conversation.
Modern Germany it's a well-functioning democracy. It's a liberal society. They're different than us. They're definitely rule followers, but they're still rule followers. They like doing what they're told, but they're very aware of what happened.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in denial. It's just I think younger Germans don't want to.
They don't want to cop to it. Well, they don't want to be associated. They want to distance themselves.
They don't want to be
it.
considered responsible.
They don't want to. Yes,
it's
they don't want
to stigma over their whole country.
Well, it's just like every time somebody gets called a colonizer here, it's like we don't want to be held responsible for that.
I don't know what that means.
Or like like it's like when modern white people get blamed for slavery. We don't get blamed for that shit.
Yeah.
Like we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't
don't get
think
me wrong. I don't remember who said it, but it's like somebody was like, they love to pretend like I'd have been one of the good ones.
Oh, yeah. That's a big white people thing. I would have been different. No, you wouldn't have.
Probably wouldn't have.
The like, abolitionist movement, if I'm not mistaken, by the time the Civil War happened, the actual statistics of actual abolitionists in the United States of America were something like 16%. So you had 16% of the population that was actually vocally anti-slavery and working to end slavery.
You're not quite right there because half of the Civil War was fought for people defending or not, like they were fighting to end slavery.
But I'm saying
because their boss told them
a lot of the northern troops. No, I'm saying a lot of the northern troops. So my great-great-grandfather was in the Civil War. He was from Vermont. No black people in Vermont to this day.
Awfully Caucasian up there. Yeah,
very Caucasian state.
Yeah.
He was like 15
Great
years
maple
old.
syrup, though.
But I read his journal. He was in the Army of the Potomac from pretty much day one, 1861 to 1865.
Wow.
He's probably at Antietam.
You can very clearly see in his journal entries that this war that he was involved with since the beginning, he didn't give a shit about the
right.
He called it differently back in those journal entries. But the African American population, the black population, he did not. It wasn't even a fucking thought in his brain. He was just kind of there because that's what all the neighborhood kids were doing. They were going to war.
Yeah.
And again, and for the Southern population, only if I recall correctly, only 9% of Southerners own slaves. So you had all these the other fucking 91% of dipshits that were essentially there to fucking go to war for the fucking wealthy.
Yeah.
And they got conned into fighting
because it was all about the plantocracy.
Not much has changed.
But the whole going to war because that's what the neighborhood kids are doing. That's happened on almost every major conflict. Like that movie just came out from a book, The Greatest Beer Run Ever. I don't know if you saw that or not or read the book.
Oh, I know the basics of the story. Yeah.
It's great. And you gotta watch the movie. It's good.
But the book's even better. It really is.
Gets into the nitty gritty.
A bunch of Massachusetts kids.
No, they're
right?
from New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But essentially it was like all these kids are trying to sign up because all the kids in the neighborhood were doing it.
Yeah.
Like obviously there was a reason behind it, but like once all the guys got over there, they were just like, why the fuck are you here? Like go home, you know?
Yeah.
Like but it goes along the same lines. Like, why are you here? Well, everybody else in the neighborhood signed up.
Yeah.
The same thing. Like you look at 9/11 happened. Why'd you join the army? Well, it was the right thing to do. Everybody else, that I knew was trying to do it.
I used to shit talk those guys. I was in before 9/11.
Right, me too.
I'd always be like, shit. Be like, I joined for the college money like a real American.
Yeah. I just wanted those bennies. I wanted to go to Thailand. Man.
I joined when I was just hoping for war.
Dude,
you guys joined because you knew there was war.
Sucked, bro. Peacetime military sucked.
We didn't even have money for blank ammo. We would go in the back 40 and we would yell bang at each other.
Butta jam. Butta jam, yeah.
Jack, when did you join?
I went to MEPS on August 11th, 2001.
So
but
right
I didn't
before.
actually go to boot camp until a year after 9/11, basically. Yeah.
Did they do the moment of truth?
What's that?
in boot camp for you?
Oh yeah, where they're like, "Did you do drugs the last?"
No,
30
the
days?"
moment of truth where they basically tell you that you're getting deployed right now, that they're ending boot camp right now, and they're gonna.
I don't think so.
So they used to do this thing called the moment of truth, and basically they'd be like, "Look, like for me, it was pre 9/11, so they called us in, and they come up with some story about Bosnia invading a country or something, and they bring the whole battalion in or whatever, the whole company in, and they're like, all of your MOSs are being changed to 0311. We have, it's been congressionally mandated that the Marines of Charlie Company, your boot camp's going to be accelerated. You're going to graduate next week. You're all going straight to SOI for the School of Infantry and all this, right? And now what we need to know is conscientious objector status. So we need you all to put your heads down and cover your eyes. And whoever could not go to war right now, you need to raise your hand. And the fucking drill instructors in the back just taking notes. And they're like,
oh, that is
Smith,
amazing.
Johnny, Kyle, he's just writing them down,
That
right?
is amazing.
And so sure as fuck, there's like 2 or 3 of them, and they're like, and this is what it would have been like back in the fucking 70s, and and they're like, and everybody's like, and I'm like fucking taking notes. I'm like, yo, let's get it. I'm like, I joined to be a grunt. Let's fucking roll, dog. And you could tell the guys who were about it, right? And then but there were a few who raised their hand. They were like, I can't go to war right now, and we're scared about it. And they fucking painted the picture, and they called it the moment of truth. And when you got back to the squad bay, the fucking bloodbath ensued. They were like, come here, you. He won't fucking fight next to you. Fucking now you're gonna fucking get smoked because this guy's a pussy. And they would just smoke the fuck out of all of us and shit. We were like, wow.
I remember at boot camp, it's what they do to you on day one. They just instill the word kill in you. You say it for everything, right? Kill, kill, kill. And I remember I told my drill instructor, Richard, I told him, it's like, this is dumb. Like, it's like, I know why I'm here. Like, I knew I was being fucking brainwashed, and it was like dumb for me to say this repetitive word. Like, I knew that was like a consequence of something you'd have to do, but like, it was dumb that they were like trying to like force feed that on us.
Like you'd be like scuzz brushing the ground with a scuzz brush, and they'd be like tap, kill. Tap, kill. Say shit like that. Like, it was weird.
Jack, so you joined a month before 9/11.
Yeah.
So why did you join?
I'll be honest with you.
The Bennies.
No, no, dude. I'm from the suburbs, bro. I was sad. I was a 17-year-old kid who basically didn't apply to colleges on time like my friends. And when I realized all my friends were starting to get like their college
acceptance letters,
I'm like, oh fuck, I fucked this up. And I needed to I was a kid from the suburbs who needed to have my Hemingway moment. I needed to go out and do my sense of adventure. The idea of being in the Marines it never was a thing I was never going to be in the Marines for a lifetime. I'm not a warrior or anything like that. I had to have my little fucking jaunt with adventure.
So
travel and adventure was the little tag they got you on.
Yeah.
So after you raised your hand and swore in, and September 11th happened, what was going through your head?
Well,
no,
shit.
You know what? I was so I'm pushing 40. So I still remember Desert Storm. Like I think I was 7 years old when Desert Storm happened. Yeah. So I remember watching Desert Storm on the news.
All 4 days.
And that lasted
93 hours.
3 fucking days. Yeah. 4 fucking days.
Yeah.
And I remember, so in my 17-year-old brain at that time when 9/11 happened, I left school after we all watched the Twin Towers fall in high school, and I went straight to my recruiter who I'd already depped in. I already signed the contract. I was like, I gotta go now. He's like, you still have to graduate high school. I'm like, no, you don't. It's gonna end. The war is gonna come and go. I'll miss out on everything.
Just kidding.
Right? Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah, but that was my mindset because
don't worry, we're going to Iraq in like 2 years.
I saw how short Desert Storm was in my head. I thought I was going to miss out on everything, and I did want to go have that experience. And I did. I was there for the invasion of Iraq. I was in 1st Marine Division, and when we all crossed the border. But and then I remember thinking,
what unit were you with?
First LAR.
Okay, we were right next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Third Tracks was right there.
Yeah, we all the mechanized guys. We crossed that border first.
Yeah,
and I remember thinking in May, a couple months after the invasion of Iraq, I was like, well, glad I got my combat action ribbon. Knock that one under my belt. We're good for now. Yeah. Went on for another 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a fucking corporal when that shit happened. I was on the pistol range that morning when 9/11 happened. And we were like, so 4 a.m., 4:30 at the armory, to pick up your pistol. That doesn't start till 9. You know what I mean? So at 4 a.m. in California is 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So when the towers are getting hit, I'm checking my weapon out.
Yeah.
So like on our way to the range in a fucking Govy van. And they're like, we got some shit that went down. And we were like, huh? Yeah, it was fucking wild. But, and like the mindset changed because peacetime Marine Corps was fucking boring. It was junk on the bunk inspections and bullshit.
I inherited the peacetime Marine Corps. All my NCOs, like literally were invading Iraq, but they were still doing peacetime Marine Corps things.
Yes.
Like hazing us.
We didn't know anything better.
Dude,
it was a vicious transition.
We had first sergeants that were concerned about haircuts and shaving and shit like that when we were
uniforms.
Yeah.
The day before we went into country.
I was very fortunate that I had a gunny in charge of me. I had 2 gunnies with me that had both been in Desert Storm, like on the ground in Desert Storm. So when this shit went down and some first sergeant would be like, why aren't you wearing your blouse? Because it's 130 degrees out and we're wearing fucking body armor.
Kuwait in February, March. When we went
in March,
dude, but it was still brutally fucking hot.
We got to Kuwait in February. We were at Camp PA for like a month before we jumped the berm.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking brutal. It was hot as fuck.
So John and I were in the 101st, right?
Yeah.
You remember like the World War II pictures
with mohawks and face paint and the whole
so
nine.
We were shaving mohawks.
Yeah, because you're like, let's get some.
Yeah,
we're sticking with our unit heritage. We're 327 right? Glider infantry.
And
like that's what they did.
Some first sergeant saw us shaving mohawks and smoked the shit out of us.
Lost it.
I remember this first sergeant was bitching at us because we weren't wearing blouses, and my gunny was like, "Hey, first sergeant, can I talk to you real quick?" And he's like, "What do you need, gunny?" And he's like, "No, I'll just show you something around the back of this," and just fucking clicked off safe. It was like, "You come near my fucking Marines again? I'm putting 3 hot ones in your ass before you hit the ground, you piece of shit. Get your take that fucking civilian shit the fuck out!" Like just fucking ripped into him. And we were all like, fucking get it, gunny. We were like, hell yeah, dude.
We had a similar moment in our platoon, but it was between 2 E5s. Well, it was an E5 with a Ranger tab and then an E5P, not Ranger. And Ranger tab, Goddard, just got promoted right before we deployed. And he tried to pull rank, being like, well, I'm an E5P, so you need to listen to me. And Goddard's like, no, that's not how any of this fucking shit works. Let's step outside the tent. And we're in tents. Yeah. So they literally stepped outside the tent and all of us were just like, and we heard every fucking word. It was great. It was fucking great.
So John and I were at the camp where the grenading happened.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
3 tents over from us.
Yeah, we were there.
That happened in February.
Yep.
Yeah, because I hadn't even showed up in Kuwait yet. I remember seeing that on the news.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
3 tents over from us.
So I was like a week behind everybody. I was combat replacement. So like I was just like, while everybody else was in Baghdad, like fucking doing it, all the Republican guys were fleeing, I was picking them up. I was like, so I was getting in fights outside while everybody else was inside there. I still have not been to Baghdad. Never been there. Been to Iraq 3 fucking times. Never been to Baghdad. Like,
Again, going back to, I'm not interrupting y'all's story, am I? Going back to history, Baghdad is one of the most progressive cities in the history of the world. Baghdad is actually, when you look at the history of the world, Baghdad is a place that some of the greatest advancements in science and mathematics and art happened.
You look at pictures of Baghdad in the 80s.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was
and that was Saddam's Baghdad.
Look at Kabul.
Yeah.
Look up Kabul in the 70s. It was a fucking tourist attraction, man. People went there. There was like water parks.
If there wasn't a war, there would be ski resorts in Afghanistan. There would be.
We could actually blame the Russians on fucking it up.
I didn't say what war. I said this one wasn't a war.
We could probably pretty coherently blamed the Russians on fucking it up, and then we didn't do a lot to fucking perpetuate it. But,
Yeah. I still, so this is something I say very, like I'm going to give it to you in the real context, but I've always done, I've had material around it. I've made jokes about it, but this is just the fact of the matter is, I love Arab culture. And some of the kindest people I've ever met in my life was in certain Arab countries, and in other Arab countries, they were some of the biggest pieces of shit I've met in my life. So
I'm a big fan of the Arab culture.
So
in some instances.
places like
Jesus Christ.
places like Iraq, Jordan,
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yep.
Those are some of the most wonderful people you're ever going to fucking meet in your life. And then you go to places like Kuwait. I've only met them. I've never been there, but I've met them. Saudis, Bahrainians, fucking turd assholes.
Yeah.
We met some great people in Iraq.
That dude from Michigan.
Well, the dude from he was American.
Yeah.
But like
he was in Iraq.
Like,
He's like his family.
how many times were we on patrol and families would invite us in and service a meal?
Iraqis are
Like,
good.
They are
people.
good.
Well, you know
people.
what it is they believe in like it's almost like the old Greeks used to, like hospitality
Yeah.
was a real fucking.
They're still very much a
that
Greek
was a
inherited
law.
culture.
Yeah, that
Well,
was a law. Like that was a law. If you have a fucking visitor, you no matter whether you are enemies or friends, hospitality rules.
Every time I get into an Uber or a cab and it's an Iraqi driving,
Ugh.
I have the best goddamn
I'm always
conversations.
like shakumaku, bro.
Right?
And they're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
You're like, it's like, oh, you break that barrier, and then they're like, well, where have you been?
Yeah,
Like,
I
fuck.
talked to a dude
Yeah.
from Fallujah, and I was like, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I met these two guys in Nicaragua.
Oh,
Down there at
God,
the
yeah.
factory, right? They live in California. And no idea who they are. I'm sitting at they have like this little outside area at the hotel. I'm having a drink and a cigar, and they are also drinking, having a cigar.
Yeah.
And like they speak like English every once in a while, and then they speak Arabic.
Yeah.
And so I obviously like a couple minutes into hanging out there, and I'm like,
Where are you from?
"Where are you from?" And they're like, "Oh, California." And I'm like, "No. Where are you from?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "California." I'm like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "You guys
Yeah,
are
I
just
get it.
speaking
You live in
Arabic."
San Diego right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Where are you from?" And they're like, "Oh, we're from Iraq." And I'm like, "No shit." And I'm like, "Where?" And then they were like, "I can't remember the name of the
They're
town."
like Basra.
No, it's a small
north of Mosul.
Yeah, it wasn't Telkeep. It was north of that. But they were in a small northern, Christian Catholic town that was up there.
Coptic. Yeah.
And so we've been there. And so I told them, I was like, I know exactly where that is. And they're like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, no, really? Like, you have your church right here, and there's a little kebab stand over there, and their market's like this. And they're like, what the fuck? So I started talking to these dudes, and it was a guy who owns a tobacco store and a cigar brand, and then his uncle.
Very Arab.
Exactly. And a liquor store.
Very Iraqi.
That's Iraqi.
Yeah.
It's straight up Iraqi, and they're shady as fuck. But I love the guys. But his uncle was in Saddam's army. And he fled Saddam's army on foot, went through the mountains through northern Iraq into Turkey, and then found his way from Turkey to the United States. Most amazing conversation I had with these guys.
No shit.
Still talk to them all the time. I think they might be at the show. We'll see.
Nice.
But great fucking dudes. And I was like, what a small fucking world that we're sitting in this tiny ass bullshit
In
hotel
Nicaragua.
in Esteli, Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And I've been to your hometown.
Yeah.
And so the first time Scott went to Nicaragua, he comes back, and I didn't go the first time. And he's like, dude, it's like Iraq, but nobody's trying to kill you.
No, I said it's like Iraq, but they have Walmarts.
Yeah, but they're Catholic, and
And
nobody's
they're
trying to kill
Catholic,
you.
and they're not trying to kill you.
Which again, there's a lot of Coptics in Iraq historically. Like there's a lot of Christians made up. I think it was 11% of Iraq's population.
Well,
like that's a huge Christian
in
population.
Missoula, you
Well,
got the
where did
Nineveh ruins.
Christianity originate?
Yeah.
man? It's
It's
the
where
cradle of
it's from.
civilization.
They were the holdouts.
Yeah, in northern Iraq. It dates back to Jonah and the fish in biblical times.
Yeah. Like,
But so I tell them, I was like, because this was like the first night that I was in Nicaragua. And so I tell him, I'm like, yeah, my buddy was down here a little while ago, and he was telling me it's like Iraq, but Catholic. And he's like, no, this is nothing like that. And so we end up going into one of the open markets in Esteli, And we're walking around, and his uncle, he was like, "Oh, this reminds me of my hometown." I'm like, "I fucking told you."
I'm telling you, looking back on it, there were some, and again, I've been to places like Jordan and other, like, I guess what you could consider blue collar Arab countries. Some of the kindest, most wonderful people.
Dude, Amman
Jordan is
great.
such a badass city.
It's a cool place.
It is a cool place, cool people. I was there for New Year's. We did a show, and we got dropped back off at our hotel in downtown Amman at like 11:57 in the middle of fucking downtown Amman, and it was one of the greatest parties ever. All the fucking bro dudes out there, just, "You're American? Fuck yeah, welcome to Amman." Just so fucking kind. Awesome. Amazing fucking restaurants, so much kindness.
Food's really fucking good
the
there.
food is so good there.
Fucking and fresh as shit.
Yeah.
What are we doing to our fruits here that makes them so terrible?
Mass producing.
A, man. Because all I know is like honeydew over there look like fucking watermelons.
Yeah.
They're this big and they taste like vanilla ice
Oh,
cream.
the pineapples in Nicaragua.
Oh, yeah.
The white
And
pineapples.
people
See, I'm telling you.
People forget how diverse Arab culture is,
Yeah.
and there's numerous reasons for it. A lot of it has to do with European colonization, but Arab culture is so fucking diverse and beautiful when you get into the right countries like Jordan and Iraq, and you're dealing with some of the kindest people on the planet.
That's one of the things I used to always tell people is they would ask, how's Iraq? And I'd be like, it's a beautiful country. If you clean
Beautiful country.
If you clean the trash,
with
it'd be fucking
amazing
gorgeous.
history.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
You know how like all the Vietnam guys are going back to Vietnam now?
Yeah.
I'd totally go back to Iraq.
I go back to Iraq in a
Would
split
you
second.
really?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think there'll be a time?
I'm gonna give it a few years.
Is it safe now? Like,
No, I know a couple journalists that have done work up in the north, which again, the north is
yeah.
friendlier and
Yeah.
it's safer, but Iraq is.
I don't think you want to go to the Sunni Triangle right
no,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in northern Iraq, I guess is still banging, still
Nice.
awesome to be at, and you can go out as an American and just go out in town and party and go see a metal show. And
I remember one of the first times we went through one of those small little towns north of Mosul,
Yeah.
way up in northern Iraq, and they're all like, there's no Muslims.
yeah,
And
They're
so,
like, there's
yeah,
a-
it was
like we're
crazy.
driving through.
What do you mean
and
there's a
there's
war?
literally a fenced off front yard of this house, and there's lights up and music, and everybody's drinking and partying their
Yeah.
fucking asses off. And I'm like, what? Where are we right now?
but even like
Did we cross a border, man?
the Muslims in Iraq, outside of certain sects, they've always historically been a little more liberal. The Kurds, they're all Muslims,
Yeah.
but they come from a more liberal Muslim culture,
Right.
and
That's where I used to
even
buy my
within
whiskey from.
yeah. But I absolutely
Bus drivers, man. Them bus drivers used to give me some good fucking booze.
I'd get in the market. There was a little Kurd stand in the market, and they had whiskey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not me. I used to have to fucking swindle it off the bus
I
drivers.
had it one
Like
time,
$40
and
a
I
bottle.
became an E4 again. Fuck you guys.
Dude,
One
as long as Gunny got his share, man, we were good to hook. He'd
There-
go, what are you guys doing? Shut up, guns. Here you go.
So-
Oh, thanks.
Everyone here's did the invasion. Do you remember? It was. I wouldn't say it was propaganda. It was just our young, misguided ideas of who these people were based off of the Desert Storm and how we grew up viewing Iraq and Saddam Hussein talking shit on the TV, and you'd see the clips of the Iraqis stomping on American flags and yada yada yada. And I remember, so we had these views like these people, these savages they want to destroy us. And I remember the first shop I went into during the invasion of Iraq, there was a fucking poster of Britney Spears on the wall. And I'm like, these guys are down. They're all about
get
it.
it.
One of the first shops I walked to
It's like the Rolling Stone
in
cover
Iraq,
with the Teletubby.
I bought a pistol.
Yeah.
I literally bought a pistol.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Oh, like,
Mista.
they were all trying to hide their shit. And I'm like, no, this is a gun store.
Yep.
I want a gun.
Dude, but they were.
That is the most
And that's
Scott
the thing.
thing ever.
It's like
It was,
even
right?
our ideas of Saddam Hussein. I'm like, if he wanted to nip, there were so many posters and there was American music everywhere. like
They were just like
Saddam Hussein could have, if he wanted to, he could have nipped that in the bud. He openly allowed American pop culture into that country.
Right. Well,
they were 20 years behind, like Michael Jackson. And
they loved Michael.
They loved Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Shakira was
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
one of the things I thought was
Right.
interesting between Iraq and Afghanistan too was just like you could tell like the level of civilization by the way they dressed, right? Like Iraqis wore
They wore jeans.
They wore jeans or
Yeah.
suits
Yep.
all the time, whereas everyone in Afghanistan's in man dresses. That's
Yeah.
just what they roll in. To this day, they're still rocking. They even use a different fucking calendar over there. Like it's not 2023 there right now. It's like fucking 1860 something or some shit. Like they use it's completely fucking
well,
Stone Age.
it's an accurate calendar.
To them, yeah, shit. Like
No, I've never been to Afghanistan, so I don't have a way to compare it. But there was a
It's-
lot of man dresses.
it's
in
not the
Iraq.
same, man. Like I saw a lot of man dresses in Iraq in OF2 with the with the insurgency and a lot of like that. But for the most part, it was
fucking foreigners.
most of them were.
Yeah.
Most of them were.
We had an interpreter.
Iraqis were fucking Western, non-secular as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, this has gone off the rails as they always do. Welcome to the Freedom Friends Master Debate, kids. That's what it is. What the fuck was our topic?
Who knows?
What's a story where the bad guys were actually 100% correct?
The war in Iraq.
So y'all aren't really off topic.
We weren't that off topic, shit.
Yeah.
But it has been an hour, which is a very long debate. So I'm going to go ahead and call it, boys. And I'm going to say it's brought to you by warfightertobacco.com. Use that code FTFO. That'll get you a sweet 15% off. Of course, Icy Tech coolers for those who get it. Go to icytech.com and use that code FreedomFriends10. That gets you 10% off. And of course, our good friends for all your CBD treats and needs, go to owellness.us. Use that code FreedomFriends25. That'll score you a quarter off your order over there. Otherwise, boys, I'm going to raise my glass, say thank you for being my freedom friend. Cheers, cheers. Jack, as always, thank you for filling in. We appreciate you, pal.
I didn't talk too much, did I?
No, you're great,
I
man.
have such a good time with you guys. I'm super Minnesota self-conscious where I'm like, oh, was I being too chatty?
No,
you
no.
filled in for Jazz. You're fine.
Yes, this is true. This is true. We're used to that side of the table being a little more talkative, so you're
So
fine.
I am that guy?
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
Oh, I don't want to be jazz.
I do want you to explain to me euchre someday because I don't understand how to play that game, but I don't know. Jesus Christ. Peanut Gallery at their finest. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, smash those buttons. Tell your mom.
Tell your friends.
Tell your fucking mom's friends. There's a mediocre show on the internet. It's called The Freedom Friends, and they should check it out. Otherwise, boys, 3 little things. Easy to do. Not hard at all. What's your first one?
Smoke on.
Drink on.
God damn it. Freedom to fuck on. Later.
Do a nice cum.